Have you ever wondered why those who give the least seem to be respected the most? Why the quietest are the most feared? Why those who withhold affection command loyalty, while those who offer too much are discarded? Because power obeys one law above all: scarcity. Today, you will learn how to stop being used, ignored, or discarded by becoming rare, desired, and untouchable. In this world, nothing is given freely, especially not a smile. That charming grin, it is often a mask, a calculated strategy hiding ruthless intent. You are taught to trust kindness. I am here to teach you to trust scarcity, for the more rare a thing is, the more power it holds. Today, I reveal the 5 Machiavellian laws of scarcity, the silent weapons hidden behind every friendly face. There is a grave error in modern thought, one that has poisoned the minds of those who seek influence and led many into the hands of those who only seek to use them. That error is this: the belief that giving more earns you more. That kindness, when multiplied, returns as loyalty. That if you love openly, speak freely, and offer yourself without limit, you shall be valued. Nothing could be further from the truth. In the court of power, generosity is often interpreted not as virtue, but as desperation. The man who gives too easily, too quickly, too openly. He is not seen as noble. He is seen as lacking value. Why? Because that which is common is unremarkable. That which is abundant is not desired. When you are too accessible, you are no longer a prize. You are a convenience. Understand this: in matters of influence, your emotions are currency. And just like gold or silver, their worth increases with scarcity. The fewer smiles you give, the more they are sought. The less praise you offer, the more valuable it becomes. The less frequently you speak, the more people listen when you finally do. You do not flood the marketplace with your attention. You ration it like a rare spice, intoxicating only in small, unforgettable doses. Every time you freely offer praise to those who did not earn it, every time you respond instantly to someone who expects your time, every time you expose your feelings, your intentions, or your loyalty too early, you are quietly telling the world, "Oh, I am not rare. I am not above. I am one of you." And once they believe you are one of them, they will treat you like everyone else. Ordinary, replaceable, forgettable. The truth is cold, but liberating affection given quickly becomes invisible. People value what is earned, not what is handed to them. This is why rulers bestow rewards slowly, and friends who offer little are often admired more than those who give too much. Not because people are cruel, but because people are ruled by perception, not morality. Scarcity commands perception, and perception commands power. If you want to flip the dynamic, if you want others to pursue you, admire you, respect you, you must stop giving everything away. Let them wonder what you are thinking. Let them feel the absence of your attention. Make them work for your response, not out of arrogance, but out of discipline. You are not being rude, you are being strategic. Your smile must feel like winter sunlight, rare, brief, and warming only those who have earned it. Your kindness must not be a faucet running endlessly. It must be a chalice, held back until the moment it creates loyalty, not expectation. The more you pour into the ungrateful, the more they drink without thanks. But the one who earns your trust after silence, they will guard it as treasure. You must remember emotions are power, not because they are loud, but because they are limited. The emotional man who gives his heart to every person he meets is not noble. He is weak. He will be used, then discarded. But the man who can feel deeply and reveal sparingly, he is dangerous. He becomes the one others crave to impress, to earn favor from, to chase. This is how you reverse the chain of power. Instead of orbiting others, let them orbit you. Instead of pouring yourself into relationships and hoping for return, offer small tastes. Test, measure, and only reward what proves worthy. Affection should be a calculated gift, not a default setting. Your generosity must feel earned, not expected. There is nothing wrong with giving, but give like a strategist, not like a servant. Every time you give too much without return, you teach others to undervalue you. Every time you withhold wisely, you teach them to pay attention. Let the world feel your absence more than it hears your presence. Let your words be few and your affection precise. Not because you are cold, because you understand the truth. Emotional scarcity is the highest form of self-respect. And only through it can you make yourself impossible to ignore. Power does not shout. It does not linger. It appears briefly and then disappears, leaving behind questions, legends, and obsession. That is the secret of presencing, not in being everywhere, but in being rare. You have been taught to show up, to always be available, to answer every call, to respond to every message, to be present for everyone. They told you that presence is loyalty, that by constantly showing up, you prove your worth. But I tell you this, the one who is too visible becomes invisible. The one who is too available becomes disposable. What is constant is overlooked. What is rare becomes sacred. Consider the sun. It rises once a day, never more, and we revere it. But imagine if the sun never set. Would we still honor its light? Or would it become background, routine, dull? Now think of yourself in the same way. If people see you too often, if you are always within reach, saying whys, always visible, always near, then your value diminishes by the day. Familiarity unchecked becomes contempt. True power is built on absence just as much as presence. The ruler does not walk through the marketplace every morning. The general does not dine with the foot soldiers nightly. The monarch appears rarely, speaks less, and vanishes quickly. Not because he is arrogant, but because he knows his presence is like golding the less of it there is. The more others crave it. When you limit your access, you increase your perceived value. You become something they wait for, something they anticipate, something they cannot own. And this not only protects you, it elevates you. The moment people feel they cannot reach you at will, their minds begin to work overtime. They wonder what you're thinking. They question what you're planning. They imagine meanings where none exist. They fill the silence with desire and the distance with curiosity. But when you are always around, your image weakens. They stop looking for you. They stop asking about you. They assume they can have you whenever they want. That is when they begin to disrespect you. Not with hatred, but with indifference. And indifference is the death of influence. To master this law, you must learn to withdraw. Not in anger, not in protest, but with calm calculation. Reduce your availability gradual, like a king retreating from the balcony. Not all at once, not dramatically, simply less. You reply slower. You appear less often. You stop explaining. You don't announce your exits. You simply move in shadows, letting others chase the light you leave behind. And here is what will happen. They will notice. They always notice. The one who was once always there is now rare. And suddenly, your absence will say more than your presence ever did. Those who took you for granted will feel your distance like a cold wind. They will ask, "Where did you go?" They will think they've done something wrong. They will adjust their tone, their behavior, their language, just to get close to you again. And that is when you will feel it, the shift in power. No longer are you chasing validation. Now, they are chasing your presence. And you are not denying them. You are simply rationing access, the way a kingdom guards its gates. Not everyone enters. Not every hour is open. Not every favor is returned. You are not cruel. You are rare. You are not cold. You are distant with purpose. And those who respect your distance will value your presence far more when it finally returns. This law is not about ego. It is about strategy. It is not about being unreachable. It is about being selectively reachable, like a secret door that opens only under the right conditions. And those conditions are yours to define. The weak man is loud. He explains, he defends, he protests. He fills every silence with noise, believing that words will rescue him. But in the game of power, it is not words that move the board. It is silence. The disciplined, deliberate silence of a mind that is calculating while others are confessing. You were raised in a world that praises openness, where every thought is shared, every feeling posted, every detail revealed. A world where silence is seen as awkward, and talking too much is disguised as honesty. But those who understand influence, Those who walk the corridors of real power know a different truthing. That silence is not a void. It is a force that makes others uncomfortable, a force that demands attention, a force that exposes the anxious, reveals the guilty, and forces others to fill in the blanks. In every negotiation, every conflict, in every relationship, he who speaks less controls more, because silence makes people desperate. Desperate to explain themselves, desperate to win your approval, desperate to fill the gap you've left hanging in the air. And that desperation is where power begins. When you stay quiet, they begin to guess. And the moment they guess, you control the frame. Your silence becomes the canvas onto which others project their fears, their desires, their insecurities. But the man who speaks too much destroys his own mystery. Every sentence he utters gives away his thinking. Every word is a weapon dropped the floor instead of used strategically. The more you say, the less value your words hold. The more you reveal, the more predictable you become. And once you are predictable, you are no longer feared. Now consider the rulers of old. The emperors, the popes, the kings. Did they speak often? No, they spoke rarely. And when they did, the world listened. Because every word carried weight. Because they starved others of communication and thus made their presence sacred. You must do the same. Let others talk. Let them argue. Let them expose themselves in the flood of their own speech. You remain still. You observe. You calculate. And when you speak, speak with precision, not casually. Not to fill silence, but to strike. Words should be like arrows, few in number, aimed with intent, and released only when the target is clear. In conversations, say less than necessary. The less you say, the more others will reveal. People are uncomfortable with silence. They will try to break it, and in doing so, they will show you their weaknesses. They will over-explain. They will justify. They will panic, and you, silent, composed, will hold the upper hand without raising your voice, without lifting a finger. Even in relationships, silence has its place. If they expect a reaction, deny them one. If they insult you, observe them with calm, not words. Your stillness will feel like thunder, because when someone expects rage and is met with calm, they are unsettled. When they expect pleading and are met with silence, they are disarmed. When they expect answers and you give none, they begin to fear what you're thinking. Silence is a mirror. It shows people who they really are when no one is speaking back. And most cannot bear what they see. They will interpret your silence however their mind chooses. Some will see it as wisdom. Others will see it as coldness. But all will agree. It is powerful. You must resist the urge to explain everything. You must unlearn the habit of filling every pause. You must understand that mystery is not created through clever words, but through strategic restraint. You become unforgettable not by saying everything, by making people remember what you didn't say. When you speak, they should lean in. They should pause. They should listen, because they know your words are rare, and therefore dangerous. Power does not lie in what you give. It lies in what you choose not to give. The true master of influence is not the one who offers abundance. It is the one who controls the flow. He who withholds, controls. And he who controls, rules. Most people are in a constant state of giving. Giving their time, giving their opinions, giving their energy, giving themselves away. They hope that by doing so, they will earn admiration, loyalty, or love. But this is the logic of the servant, not the strategist. When you give everything, you strip yourself of value. When your approval comes too easily, it is taken for granted. When your attention is offered to all, it becomes worthless to each. It is not what you offer that gives you leverage. It is what others must struggle to obtain. Imagine a man who owns a well in the middle of a dry desert. His power is not in the water itself. It is in the fact that others thirst. It is in the fact that he can decide who drinks and when. You must become that man. You must become the source. Whether it's your attention, your affection, your knowledge, your approval, or your resources, you must treat it all as a supply you control, a supply others desire, a supply you do not release without reason. Because the truth is this: people don't value what they are given. They value what they must earn. When praise is rare, it becomes sacred. When your time is scarce, it becomes an honor. When your resources are rationed, your position becomes elevated. The one who gives with caution creates demand, and the one who creates demand controls desire. Even the illusion of scarcity has influence. You can withhold information, not because it is dangerous, but because its mystery creates curiosity. You can delay responses, not out of pettiness, but because patience breeds importance. You can limit your generosity, not because you are selfish, but because power must be dispensed strategically. A king does not give every man gold. He gives to the few, and in doing so, ensures the loyalty of the many. Watch how people change when you stop giving freely. They begin to chase. They begin to perform. They begin to wonder what they did wrong to lose your favor. And in that wondering, in that imbalance, you become the center of gravity. You create a dynamic where your silence speaks louder than their noise, your withholding more powerful than their begging. It does not matter whether what you hold is physical, emotional, or symbolic. If it is controlled, if it is measured, it becomes powerful. The man who controls access to praise will be surrounded by those who seek to impress him. The woman who offers affection rarely will be desired by those who receive it. The leader who rewards selectively will be worshipped by those who are starving for recognition. But when you give too quickly, the hunger dies. When you respond to every request, every message, every demand, you teach others not to appreciate you, but to expect you. And expectation is the beginning of disrespect. You become a faucet they turn on when convenient. They do not thank the faucet. They do not admire it. They simply use it and move on. There is power in being the one who decides, the one who opens the gates, not because others knock, but because you choose, the one who gives, not to everyone, but to those who prove worthy. You must remember the world does not admire the flood. It admires the spring that trickles with care, feeding only those who wait with patience. You are that spring. Not everyone should drink. Not everyone should be allowed to feel full. Let them thirst. Let them wonder. Let them work harder for what they once received so easily. There is a strange truth in the psychology of influence, one so powerful that most rulers keep it hidden. It is this: what vanishes becomes immortal. Disappearance, when done with precision, transforms the ordinary into legend. The man who is always seen is eventually ignored, but the man who disappears at the height of his presence leaves behind a ghost that cannot be touched. This is the law of disappearance, perhaps the most misunderstood weapon in the arsenal of power. To the average mind, absence is weakness. It is interpreted as loss, failure, irrelevance. But to the calculating mind, absence is alchemy. It converts presence into power. It transforms your memory into obsession. Because human beings are not drawn to what they understand. They are drawn to what they miss, what they can no longer reach, what they once had a taste of but can't quite get back. When you are always around, your impact becomes diluted. Your presence turns into wallpaper, visible but ignored. Your voice becomes background noise. Your opinions, your attention, even your affection begin to feel ordinary. And no matter how valuable you are, the moment you become a constant, you lose your sharpness. The mind adjusts, the novelty fades. They become a fixture, not a force. But when you pull away, strategically, not emotionally, you break their rhythm. You create a void. You interrupt the expectation. And in that silence, in that missing piece, you become more powerful than when you were standing in front of them. Because now, you are no longer defined by who you are. You are defined by what they remember. And memory is far easier to manipulate than reality. Think of the most legendary figures in history. Many of them vanished before their story could decline. And in vanishing, they became timeless. Their imperfections blurred, their influence magnified, their names whispered for centuries. This is not an accident. This is mastery, and you too can wield it. Not with drama, not with words, but with subtle, intentional disappearance. Remove yourself after success. Exit after a moment of admiration. withdraw when your presence is expected, and when they reach for you again, they find only the echo of your shadow. That echo will speak louder than any words you could have said if you stayed. They will replay your actions. They will reanalyze your silence. They will begin to mythologize you, because people always glorify what they no longer have access to. You must understand, distance is not absence, it is elevation. It does not mean retreat, it means refinement. You do not vanish into nothing. You vanish into mystique, into exclusivity, into a place where only the deserving are allowed to reach. The more rarely you appear, the more sacred you become. Your time becomes a ritual, your opinions, rare scripture, your presence, a private event, and what happens in your absence is even more critical. People talk, they guess, they fill in the blanks with their imagination, and their imagination will almost always make you bigger than you are. The man who stays silent after conflict is remembered as wise. The one who disappears after victory is remembered as a master. The woman who withdraws after betrayal becomes a mystery they cannot stop returning to. Their silence becomes your stage. Their confusion becomes your script. The most dangerous form of power is the kind they cannot pin down, the kind they cannot predict, the kind that shows up like thunder, then fades like smoke, leaving behind the scent of something they can't quite name, but can't forget either. That is what you must become. You are not meant to be everywhere. You are meant to be unforgettable. You do not need to speak to be remembered. You do not need to be present to be felt. You only need to know when to disappear and let the hunger begin. You were taught that strength lies in being generous, open, present, and predictable. That the more you give, the more you are valued. But now you know the truthing power does not belong to the loud or the available. It belongs to the scarce. Behind every smile is a calculation. Behind every compliment, a purpose. The world does not revolve around the most giving. It revolves around the most controlled. Controlled in speech, controlled in presence, controlled in emotion. The rulers of men are not those who flood the room. They are those whose absence changes the temperature of it. You now hold the 5 laws of scarcity. Give little, and they will want more. Limit your access, and they will chase it. Speak rarely, and your words will echo longer. Withhold what they expect, and they will serve to earn it. Disappear at the height of your power, and you will never truly leave. This is how you become untouchable, desired, respected, not by shouting your value, but by starving the world of it, until it becomes undeniable. And when they ask how you did it, when they wonder why your silence commands more than their noise, you need not answer. Let them study your shadow. Let them fear your return, because that is the final strategy of power, to become so rare that your name speaks louder than your presence ever could.